everyone, I'm Brian Avery and thank you for coming back to our channel, and thank you to everyone who's been sort of following us as well and clicking that subscribe button to get, and the bell to get notifications as and when we have new updates. Now for those who have been following us, today is now September the 11th. It's a lovely glorious Saturday afternoon. It's in Celsius terms, it is now 21 degrees 71 Fahrenheit. So it's a lovely beginning of autumn day. I'm going to be feeding later on and that'll be a separate video. But what I wanted to do today, and some of you who have seen the last few videos, I've had this hive here, and that was the one that I actually transferred my nuke into in July, on July the 17th, when I got my first colony. And then a week later, after I got this hive, I've moved them into this hive. They're both long hives. They're both made by Hyde Hives, and Dean Shepherd and Matt Shepherd, the two brothers who have made these. This is made from cedar. It is a long hive, and I'm going to do a review about this hive. And what's different about this hive compared with this hive, and I've done a separate review about this hive, so please do go back, and I will put a link on this sort of video so that you can actually follow and actually have a review of this hive. This hive here is a traditional Langstroth. This is also a Langstroth size, but this is a traditional Langstroth where it will have 20 frames of which can either be all brood, a mixture of brood and honey. There is a queen excluder in here, so you can actually obviously do that delineation between the two, but it's up to you how you want to do that. But as the colony grows, you just move, add extra frames until you've got enough, or you've filled up the whole of the hive. Now this one is a bit different. Number one, you see these here. So this is actually a flow long hive. So Dean Shepherd has made this at Hyde Hives explicitly for the use of flow frames. Now some people like flow frames. I'm not going to go into the merits of flow frames or anything else about that. Everybody has their choice of the way they do beekeeping. So this is also a double colony. So by that I mean this half is one colony, and then this half is the other colony. And this half currently actually has a colony in. So you can see the bees flying around, and all the latest videos I've been doing is based on looking after those bees. But I haven't got around to actually doing a proper review of this. So I've had a few people ask me, fine, when are you going to review that hive? Why does it have these doors? Well, what they look like doors. So as I mentioned, the reason is because this is a flow hive. So they've made this explicitly for the flow frames which come from Australia, the original flow frames. So and I will be doing next season, I'm actually going to start using them, and once I do that I will do videos just to show how the flows are being accepted and how well they work in this frame. So this isn't going to tell you about that part, it's just going to tell you about what it's designed to do. So let's start and open up the hive. So there's lots of similarities in the way it's made as to compared with this hive here, in that they are made from solid wood. This is all cedar. It's British cedar, so it's not had lots of air miles flying around. And oh, got a bee in my hair. What it does mean is also these are trees that have died naturally, and that's how they've actually sourced this wood predominantly. So it's ecologically good, friendly way of actually beekeeping. So let me just open up. This is one of the feeders. As I said, it's early September now, so I'm actually going to be filling this feeder up. It's actually empty at the moment. So I'm going to start feeding him for autumn. But I'm going to focus on this side. Sorry, the battery was going low. I'm going to just focus on this side of the hive, but it's just replicated. It's a mirror image on both sides. One thing I love about these hives is they just look lovely. Look at that. What a lovely made hive. There's roof. That roof is lovely. This is phenolic plywood, resin ply. So it's going to stand. You can even make boats and things out of this. So it's not going to, 20, 30 years, no problem. This will actually last at all for that time. Very, very simple. You see, just a easy finger thumb to lift it up. They've got gas struts on there, one on either side, to make it really easy to actually sort of lift up the hive. Very well, and I'll do some close-ups of this. You can see well made here. I've had a look around. The way they've actually gone around sealing all of this is good, but not been really to the nth detail to make sure that it's perfect, because this is a natural. Bees don't live in an environment which is completely hermetically sealed like our houses are, to keep the heat and things in. So what they have done as well is the 2 sections. So lovely crown boards. Currently they've got plastic on top, so I've removed them on this hive where I've actually got the bees, but it's just literally just pull that off, and then we've got the nice clear hive, so crown board. So there's 2 of those. These things that just pop out, again very simply, so that you can actually feed, or you can put some fondant on top depending on what you do. But if you'll notice, there's flat on that side but not on that side, and the reason, again, Dean and Matt, you've thought about this very well. So if I'm just doing general feed, but if I want to have fondant on, but I actually want to have a fondant underneath the crown board, I can just turn it around. I've got space to put the fondant on underneath as well. So they've thought about it depending on different styles and people's preferences of how they actually keep bees. Now, the other key thing that I really like about these is the landing boards, and I will show you that just now at the front. The other key thing is that they have here is they've got this divider which segregates that colony from this colony, so they won't be able to mix at all, so you know they are going to be safe. They're screwed in nicely, very well made, and got the 2 queen excluders, 1 for each colony. Personally, I'm using what Dean's actually done is this extra little space in between, so that I can actually keep them out of the way, and there's also one for a sort of brood board as well, so that if you want to, an end board, so that as you move the hive, the frames out and as they expand, you can do that as well. So I've got that in there, and there's a space to have that extra one in there if we wish to. As far as controlling mites and monitoring just what's actually coming out at the bottom of the hives, they've got 2 for each colony, 2 boards, or 3 in total. There's 1 here as well. What I've gone and done on this one, which I'll show you, and I'll be doing that on all of them, is I'll just put down a sticky pad which has got all the sort of marks on it, and it just allows me to have a look at what's actually falling out. When I'm having a look at this, yet again, I do not see a single mite. So I'm not going to be going to do any treatments on this at all, because even if there was 1 or 2, then I might go and do some testing, but there's not a single mite. And this has been in here for, I think it's now 5 weeks, and what I would do is 2 or 3 times a season I would actually change that sticky board, so I can make sure that I've named it, I've tagged it, so this is what they look like when they actually arrive, and you just pull off this strap here and pull it off and put it down. But what you can do is say exactly which hive it is, when you put it in, when you removed it, so you can actually keep a record. And my intention is, part of just understanding my bees a bit better, but also general monitoring, is I take photos of this every once in a while. So 2-3 weeks later, if I see a mite, I can say, oh, was that there? And I can go back and have a look and say, no, actually this is a new one, or no, this is actually an older one. But that's just an easy way for us to keep them. These just slide in very well. They're also still the phenolic pie, so that's absolutely fine. And you can see there, you know, it's on both sides, because it is with 1 piece of wood. Nice and solid. So guys, Dean, you made it very well, just like the other hive. The base, which I'll have a look at, I'll just take this off. Okay, so just been a bit closer now and having a look at it. The base here is also solid cedar. What the guys did for me was actually oil this already. They used Danish oil. If people want to see how you oil a hive, my very first video when the other hive arrived is actually how you oil it, at least how I do it. And I actually used teak oil, just my preference. I have no issues about the guys having used Danish oil on this as well. But what you can see is it is solid wood. If I go over this side, we just see the bees in there. You can see it's solid timber, very well made, well glued, and as well as screwed in. When I'm having a look at now at the roof on the inside, you can see again, well solid. They've also got the little bee escape there, that's from the inside, and that is on the outside. So even if you end up trapping a bee or two in the hive, don't worry, because they'll be able to get out. There's the actual sort of one of the little end boards that I've actually got using on that hive. That's where the flow frames will go next season, as and when I start using them. That will be this side here on these. Now, so if I stick to this part of the hive, what I want to just show you here, just like the other hive, it's a good solid sort of screen there. And as you've seen, they do allow stuff to fall through, so that's all works very well, but it's a solid piece. And again, they've gone and put supports in it as you go through. So there's one there and one there as well. So along this double hive, there's got the two supports, so it's nice and firm. It doesn't really give in and bend. So that's going to last as well. Even the boards that we got here in between are solid. Again, it's been cedar, even though it's internal to the hive, it is all cedar. And one of the other things I quite like about this hive is in how we would actually access, if I go through this side, the flow frames. So what we have here, two handles. Normally you obviously use that with two hands to actually lift that out. Again, cedar on the inside, so shouldn't be any warping. But one of the key things is I have here, so we're having the flow frames in here, resting on here. This doesn't just fall out necessarily per se, because it's actually designed, if you look there, it's actually designed to fit in like that and be loose. Because if you do know anything about flow frames, you end up having you lift that off, so you can access the top of the flow frames, which would be here, and then you'd have the metal key, so you can open the flow frames so the honey can flow down into the bottom, and then you can extract it coming out here. So when you're using this system, you'd put it in all of the frames. This is designed for 7 of the flow frames made by Flow Hives, and they will then all sit there, and this is just here so that if there is any honey that drips out of the flow frames, they go in here, and then the bees will just be able to pick it up again and put it back in the frames, rather than dripping down and potentially encouraging some robbing. So just a lovely little point that Dean came up when he was making this up. So that will just the bees will probably propolize that, so that will help preserve it. I understand, as you can see here, it is the phenolic ply again, but it's been obviously cut out to make this little capture area for any of the honey, and that's in both of these compartments. There's one for each to cover the 7 frames. So I haven't used it yet, as I've mentioned, but then this, when you finished harvesting, you put that back in. It stays in nice and simply. That's on both sides, and you just sort of close it up. But that's also why this is also here, cut out here. If I step back, you can see that it's not just for aesthetic reasons. It is actually because of having the flow frames. We need to just have that little bit of area cut out. So Dean, again, you've thought about that very well. Another thing that they've done nicely here is actually opened up, I'll put these here. So as we're actually working away, we can actually just take a frame out if we want to, put it on these two struts to hold it, and we can work away on the rest of the hive. But if you're going to do that, just make sure that you haven't actually got the queen on there. If it is just one, make sure that you try and use another frame to put up there to give you that space. But it's a very nice little idea. What I'm going to do, which I haven't seen and I think will be quite useful, for the little key that we use on the flow frames, I'm going to put little clips, just 2 little clips, probably on this one, that will be able to hold, so I don't have to look after and wonder where have I got the key each time and bring it out. I'm just going to clip them into both of those. So when I start using that next year, I will fit that in, and so you'll be able to see that going forward in later views. Anyway, guys, that's really the hive. Now if I go to the front where the bees are actually coming out, that's what they look like. It's a beautiful hive, guys. That's the other hive, looks almost identical. They are both Langstroth, so their width is at the front is the same. The only difference I have with these ones is I've said I'll have metal be escape there, and on that one it's a plastic one. but that was just my choice. And this is cedar, and that one is pine. Do have a look at the other video about this other, the short, what I call the short single colony longhive. This is the double colony. So not surprising if I go out like that, it's a bit longer, so you can compare the two. But same phenolic phenolic resin roofs, and the crown boards done exactly the same. The bases are the same, because even on this one here on the right hand side, that is also made out of cedar. But look at these lovely bees, aren't they absolutely beautiful? They're making it very easy. I actually realized I haven't actually closed this side, and you can see, as bees always do, they find any little gap to go in and out. I'm not too worried about that at the moment. I will close it up when it comes to winter, but the key thing is it's allowing them to have just another way, and it's easy for them to defend if there was to be any worrying. Anyway, that's it about this hive. So first of all, Matt, Dean, thank you so much for dropping this off. So I got this at the in late July, I think it was, and I've just finally got around to sort of doing a review on this now. So I'm going to finish off here. If anybody please has any comments, anybody else who has a Hyde hive or any other long hives, please leave your comments below. Please subscribe to the channel, and also tick that bell if you want to have notifications of any of the other videos that we do going forward. Anyway, I love this hive, guys. Leave your comments, ask any questions. If I don't know, I will get in contact with Matt and Dean about this, but I think this is going to be fantastic. I'm really looking forward to next year when I finally put some flow frames in here and I expand the colony into both sides of this hive, so we'll actually have 2 hives in there.